Welcome back to the Kudlow Report. At the top of this half hour, as we've been saying, President Obama got it wrong last night. He failed to commit to aggressive budget cuts and entitlement reform. But who has it right? New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. It's no wonder people keep mentioning him as a 2012 candidate for president. I met with the governor earlier today, just after he held a town hall in Middletown, New Jersey. In this exclusive interview, he breaks news about a presidential run and also breaks news about something I have long advocated, cutting taxes across the board for businesses and individuals in the state of New Jersey to spur economic growth. Take a listen. Governor Chris Christie, welcome to the Kudlow Report. We're honored, sir.
Happy to be here, Larry. Thanks.
All right. I really enjoyed it. I got a chance to watch you in action at this town hall meeting today with your epic battle against the teachers union and the other state unions. But I want to ask you, did you hear any of that in President Obama's State of the Union message last night? Did you hear leadership on the fiscal breakdown issues from the president?
I said at the town hall meeting today, I was a little disappointed. I was encouraged when I heard the president say we're going to do the big things. And then I didn't really hear about the big things from a fiscal responsibility perspective. You know, a 5-year freeze on domestic spending, it's a relatively small item in the grand scheme of the big problems that we have. And I didn't hear about taking on any of those really big issues from a fiscal perspective. I heard about raising taxes, which I wasn't happy about. And so in that portion of the speech, I was disappointed in what the president had to say.
I mean, he's got this budget freeze from the elevated, highly inflated baseline. The numbers come to $400 billion for the next 10 years. His own deficit commission from Erskine Bowles and Al Simpson, their plan cut the deficit over 10 years by $4 trillion. He's like 1/10 of his own commission. I mean, would you do that as governor? I mean, that is just a paltry reaction, it seems to me, compared on the state scale. I mean, did Obama miss the boat on this? This is the day of fiscal reckoning. I didn't see any reckoning last night.
Well, I think what we got to look at is what is going on in the states, because it really is the canary in the coal mine for what's happening to the federal government. We in New Jersey last year had an $11 billion budget deficit that we closed by cutting spending and not by raising taxes. And that means you had to cut every department of state government. We had a 9% year-over-year reduction in spending, not reduction in the increase, real reduction dollar for dollar in spending. And we're going to continue on that path, fiscal year 12, because we just have this huge structural problem that we've created because we've overspent, we've overtaxed, and we've overborrowed. And I think the president needs to look at what's happening in the states. And this is part of the job of the Republicans in the House, though, Larry. I mean, they're going to have to put a spotlight in this issue. They're going to have to remain firm and strong in their mandate that they were given by the people of this country in November, which was to rein in the size and scope of government.
Have you spoken to President Obama?
Yeah, I've met him a number of times.
And have you talked to him about your epic battles here and his own epic battle in Washington with respect to our bankrupt government that doesn't seem to be epicked out?
We haven't had a substantive conversation like that, no. But I've met the president a number of times. We've had brief conversations, but nothing like that.
Were you surprised in last night's speech? I mean, he talks about investment and competitiveness, but really he's spending even more on education, even more on energy, even more on infrastructure. Now, from the governor's standpoint, does that make any sense to you?
Well, this is, again, related to my own experience in New Jersey. In New Jersey, we spend $17,620 per pupil per year, the highest of any state in America. And we're not getting the results. I mean, it is not just about funding more. It is about doing a better job at teaching kids. And in this area, the president and I have some common agreement. I think we need to have more charter schools. In New Jersey, I just approved 23 new charter schools, which is 1/3 of all the charter schools that have been approved in the 15 years since Christie Whitman had put the charter school law into effect. We need to completely eliminate the system of tenure the way it exists today. It's there to protect bad teachers, and we need to have good teachers at the front of every classroom. We need to pay those good teachers what they're worth and get rid of the bad ones. We need to make fundamental change. We give parents more choice. Right now, we're considering in the legislature, and I'm supporting something called the Opportunity Scholarship Act, which will give corporations tax credits for donating money for kids in troubled districts. to have scholarships to go to private and parochial schools. We need to provide the full range of choice, make our education system a competitive one, and then we'll get great results. It's not just all about spending money.
Don't you really? In New Jersey, you've got the same entitlement problems as the federal government has, okay? You've got pensions in New Jersey. We call it Social Security at the federal level. It's going bankrupt. Yours are going bankrupt. You're trying to deal with that. It's called Medicare and now Obamacare at the federal level. Here it's called medical benefits for the government, state workers, and so forth. Now, those are the entitlement battles. I want to ask you first, before we get to Jersey, what is Obama going to do? Were you surprised he didn't have any definitive, I mean, he's had a deficit commission that tried to tackle it. Were you surprised? Were you disappointed he didn't provide any leadership on that last night?
I was surprised and disappointed it did not take a central place in the speech last night.
And do you think the Republicans are getting it done? Do you like what you hear from the new Republicans in the House? Paul Ryan gave his counter speech last evening. Do you think they're going to get it done?
I think they have to. If they don't, they're going to be shown the door. I mean, our party got elected on that basis in November. And it's our time to show leadership on that and to work with the president to lead him where we need the country to go.
Can you be a laboratory of reform here in New Jersey? As far as I understand, reading up on all the issues here, we've had dinner before, you want, with respect to pensions and the health benefits, you want more co-pays. You want to put a cap on cost of living adjustments. You want the individuals to be able to pay up on medical premiums, for example. All these things which sound so much like the federal problems. Is New Jersey going to be a laboratory experiment?
I hope so. That's what I'm trying to do for the last year. And I think you see governors all over the country who are following New Jersey's lead now. And it's regardless of party. I mean, when we started saying this stuff last year, you were watching, people say that he's crazy. You can't talk about these things. These are the third rails of politics. But I came to the conclusion during my campaign in 2009 that New Jersey were going to be treated like adults. And they wanted to be told the truth. And I've done that for the last year, and we've done some tough things. And I told folks in the campaign last year, if we do this the right way, we're going to be an example for the rest of the country. Well, look at now. You have guys like Scott Walker in Wisconsin, Rick Snyder in Michigan, John Kasich in Ohio, who are saying all the same things. But not just them. Andrew Cuomo in New York and Jerry Brown in California talking about the fact that we have to lower our costs, cut public sector salaries, cut back on reform benefits, both pension and health benefits. I think what New Jersey has started is a national movement at the state level, and I hope that it creates a brush fire that's so intense that it'll put so much heat on Washington, D.C. that they're going to have to do it.
So you're going back and forth with Governor Quinn of Illinois, as I understand it. He just took a riposte at you. I want to give you a chance to take a shot back at him. They've just jacked up their tax rates. You believe business should come to New Jersey, but you've got very high tax rates here.
Except his are going up and mine are going down. We cut the corporate tax rate last year. We're going to put together in my budget address on February 22nd more tax cuts that we're going to do in the context of a balanced fiscal year 12 budget.
Tell me more about the tax cut. The Tax Foundation, you've referred to this, right? The Tax Foundation has moved New Jersey from 50th in the business tax climate to 48th, okay?
Yes.
That's progress, but it ain't great.
Right.
Now, what specific? You've got a 9.4% corporate tax, if I have these numbers right, and a 9% top personal tax rate. What you going to do about it?
Well, we're going to wait till the budget address, Larry, on February 22nd to lay some of this stuff out. I want to leave some suspense and mystery for the people in New Jersey and the Democrats in the legislature, but we are moving towards tax reduction and tax reform in New Jersey. And so between me and Governor Quinn in Illinois, here's the very simple difference. He's raising taxes, I'm cutting them. And the promise I made to the business owners in Illinois is come to New Jersey, and for as long as I'm governor, we're not going to raise your taxes. If you stay in Illinois, you know for a certainty that Pat Quinn's going to raise your taxes, because what he's done is made his bed with the public sector unions during the election campaign. I was out there during the election campaign, Larry. I campaigned for Bill Brady in what turned out to be a very close race. I heard what Pat Quinn was saying. He made a deal with the public sector unions in order to get elected and win by 0.5%, and he's now going to pay off on that, but it's not him who's paying off. It's the taxpayers of Illinois who are going to have to pay. So what I say to the folks of Illinois is, listen, New Jersey's not the perfect place to do business yet, but we're on the upswing, and where you are is on the downswing.
Just to the side, I want to come back to the Jersey economy and the tax story, but has President Obama made the same devil's pact with the public unions, with the government unions? Is that what's preventing him from dealing with entitlements and education issues and so forth?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think he has said some very good things on education reform, which makes me think that maybe that's not the case. But again, like I said to you last night, I was a little surprised not to hear more of that last night, so I don't know what the explanation is.
All right, please stay with us. We're going to come right back with Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey and talk about taxes and the economy in his state.